Thanks everyone for joining the session today. We'll be discussing how to monitor EBS on OCI in your data center and beyond. My name is Ziad Kader, and joined with me is Steve and Vas as my panelists for this session, and we'll get started. So the agenda for today's session is going over why EBS observability matters, going into the OCI observability and management for EBS, use cases, and the OCI services that are associated with monitoring EBS. And then I'll do a demo and provide some helpful resources. So starting with why EBS observability matters. Um, First of all, it ensures business continuity. So ensuring that there's no downtime or disruption in critical business processes like finance, HR, supply chain. It also improves the performance and user experience in EBS. So it helps identify slow forms, workflow delays, any concurrent manager bottlenecks before they start impacting end users. And it enhances troubleshooting and root cause analysis by being able to centralize logs and metrics. Uh, it allows for faster diagnosis of issues across database, middleware, and application tiers. And finally, it optimizes resource utilization and cost. So proactively providing insights into capacity planning and avoiding over-provisioning while ensuring optimal performance. So OCI has an AI-powered observability and management solution for EBS observability, and it supports infrastructure that's on the Oracle Cloud or hybrid or multi-cloud or on-premise environments. And the key capabilities of this platform, which is native to OCI, is the deep monitoring capabilities. So being able to monitor availability and performance of the EBS services and databases. It also allows for diagnostics and troubleshooting to manage the performance and resolve issues. And finally, AI ops and analytics for things like Concurrent Manager, EBS functional errors from the business side, capacity planning, and some machine learning insights capabilities. And, OCI observability and management ingests all kind of telemetry. So this includes, metrics, events, logs from the environment, traces for the application, and SQL data from the database. So let's dive a little bit deeper into each one of these, key capabilities of this observability solution. So for deep monitoring, one of the value adds is end-to-end user experience monitoring, which provides you insights into the user's experience, either in the browser or Oracle Forms. It also provides visibility into all the layers that are touched by the user session, and that includes the application tier, the middleware, and Oracle databases. And it provides the capability of proactively monitoring the availability of EBS web pages and user actions from vantage points all around the world. Another value add is the intelligent application stack monitoring. So being able to automatically discover all the key components of an EBS environment, which includes hosts, application servers, concurrent processing, Oracle databases, EBS forms, workflow mailer, and load balancers. And the ability, once you've discovered, all these stack components, to visualize the full EBS topology and reveal the relationships across the stack to be able to quickly isolate issues. And lastly, being able to identify abnormal behavior from learned metric baselines. So being able to, with the use of machine learning, uh, figure out the baselines for metrics that are collected from all your EBS components and being able to identify anomalies that way. And lastly, the deep database monitoring, which provides actionable insights into database performance by uncovering slow queries, bottlenecks, and anything that's affecting EBS responsiveness. And the ability to analyze wait events, track PL SQL execution, identify blocking session, and being able to drill down into session level metrics. So from the diagnostics and troubleshooting point, there are a few value adds there, such as being able to see business critical functional monitoring, and that includes, detecting issues that directly impact business processes such as financial operations, HR, and much more through over 300 scheduled database checks. And examples include, failed period closes, invoice issues, payment processing errors, and compliance gaps. The other value add here is the cross services drill down, which allows you to, investigate issues across the EBS stack by navigating from application transactions to SQL performance or to, log entries in context, um, and the ability to drill down into metric data, logs, and traces from dashboards to the various OCI observability and management services. And the platform also provides proactive alerts and notifications to be able to monitor availability, latency, errors with real-time alerts to help you address issues before users are impacted. And you can also trigger alarms from saved log queries or log searches to track recurring patterns, any anomalies or operational risks as they arise in the EBS logs. It also allows for setting setting alerts on custom or pre-built metrics across all the different layers of the stack from application, database, infrastructure, which allows you to track thresholds and monitor them and uncover unusual behavior. And lastly, the customizable observability dashboards. So you can utilize out-of-the-box dashboards or build your own using widgets from logs, metrics, and trace data. Uh, this allows you to monitor key health and performance indicators across the entire EBS stack in real time. And there's also the ability to extend the visibility with custom metrics from any of your EBS resources, depending on your specific monitoring objectives. And for the last key capability, AI ops and analytics, from a database perspective, you get database and SQL performance analytics. So being able to track historical SQL performance to identify regressions and inefficiencies using machine learning. It also allows for tuning, slow queries, execution plans, and provides adaptive recommendations. Um, there's some anomaly detection that can help with root cause analysis. So you can uncover EBS and WebLogic log patterns with machine learning techniques such as clustering, correlation analysis, and issue identification. And you can also identify anomalies such as degraded performance or regressed sequels or spikes in system resource utilization. And lastly, uh, you have the ability to detect signs of malicious activity, such as suspicious access patterns or authentication failures. And another value add from this perspective of AI ops and analytics is the capacity planning and cost optimization. So being able to forecast capacity needs for your Oracle databases, Exadata, and hosts using predictive analytics and historical utilization trends. This allows you to identify underutilized or over-provisioned resources to optimize your infrastructure cost and supports data-driven scaling decisions based on workload behavior. So I wanted to kind of walk you through what a typical EBS performance triage looks like. And, some of the EBS folks may be familiar with this. So, for example, when a user is experiencing issues such as concurrent requests taking too long, that's sent to internal tickets, which the applications admin then, works with the DBA and infrastructure team to figure out, what the issue might be and provide additional, context such as the request IDs, SQL IDs, and all of that. So this cycle goes on for some time, and if no resolution is found, then, it's sent to my Oracle support ticket, and this whole process could take, 3 to 5 days before reaching a resolution for the issue. So I wanted to show you, the power of having the diagnostics and observability capabilities available in OCI with an example here. And it's a video, but before it starts, I just kind of want to show you where we're starting from. So the list in this table here is for, actions that are performed in the EBS environment. And in this case, it's JDBC calls, and each of them has the SQL ID that's associated with it. And it's ordered in terms of what's taking the most time. So we're basically looking at which database calls are taking the longest time from an application perspective. And we'll see how we can, drill down further from here. So you can click into any one of these, and it gives you a bunch of metrics that you can look into, or you can drill down from those application transactions to, database performance and filter by that specific SQL ID. And you can go into the user sessions, and you'll be able to see some metrics on the activity, as well as being able to really drill down into that SQL ID, get some metrics on the plans and the execution statistics, and really troubleshoot why this is taking so long. And you can also see the SQL text for that query. That kind of demonstrates one of the strong points of the OCI observability and management platform, which is the cross-services capabilities. So being able to drill down from, say, application traces or transactions into database performance, or drill down from, erroring transactions to the corresponding logs in context. And that's something that you can simply add by dynamic linking between those services. So, you could go into the log data via the ECID, which is the, common identifier in an environment like EBS, or to SQL performance via the SQL ID. You can also look at historical SQL by the SQL ID, and much more. And this dynamic linking also extends beyond just the OCI platform. So you can create, links where if you're getting specific error codes, you can, link to Moss, where it searches for, any notes on those specific errors, or Stack Overflow to, get more answers on why you may be seeing those errors. So there's quite a lot that you can do with this dynamic linking. And another way to see, the cross services capabilities is the ability to link out of any dashboards to all the different observability and management services. So for, an example like this one here, where we're looking at long-running concurrent requests, you can drill down by request ID to, the logs for that concurrent request, or, drill down into database performance based on user sessions or the SQL ID. So those were two kind of examples on, the power of being able to do cross services linking between the services. And just another, example here with a dashboard. You're able to combine all of, the different telemetry sources into a single pane of glass. So being able to see things like user experience, availability of your services, any outliers from the logs or problem labels that are showing up in the logs, and seeing error traces, as well as, SQL performance all in one place. And many of these things here, you'll be able to click into, any of the items that are showing up, and it'll take you to that service and show you the relevant information for, what you're drilling down into. With the traces that have SQL IDs in them. Those are, specific actions, but you can always link back to either the username or the user session, and you can kind of see, the flow of all the JDBC calls and SQL IDs that were associated with that user or user session. All right, so with that in mind, I want to go into the OCI observability and management services for, for this EBS observability solution. So there are five main services that are associated with this, and the ideal situation is being able to, enable all these services to get, full visibility and the full picture. That doesn't need to be the case when you're starting out with OCI observability and management. You can start with something like stack monitoring to discover your entire EBS stack and get metrics on all the different components, and view the topology of everything connected with each other. And then, enabling things like application performance monitoring to get traces into the actions that are happening in the EBS environment, as well as logging analytics to, be able to pull in some important logs like the concurrent processing logs, and enabling services such as database management if you wanted to look into, SQL analysis and user session analysis from a database perspective. And finally, operation ops insights for any capacity planning needs, or the ability to look into historical SQL analysis, and being able to get, weekly news reports for capacity trends and database and SQL trends as well.
Z, I wanted to interrupt you one additional time here. Is
Mhm.
in this solution you're describing, I know that many folks today with EBS run kind of in a siloed format. There may be a EBS administrator looking after the application. There may then be the EBS DBA and the EBS developer. And unfortunately, many cases, they're using, individual tooling. And as you showed earlier, the process of doing things can take, many days to sometimes weeks. But with what you're showing here, these are accessible by any of those, is my understanding. and that helps reduce that time as well, correct?
Right, yeah. So all of these tools are available in all the OCI tenancies, and they're available to everyone. So it kind of, fosters a self-serve kind of diagnostics and troubleshooting environment where you have access to all this information, and it helps you, figure out bottlenecks or issues by, looking through metric, trace, and log data all in one place. I wanted to go into some of the use cases for monitoring the EBS stack. You know, we'd want to monitor resources and availability, utilization metrics for things like Concurrent Manager, WebLogic, EBS Forms, Workflow Manager, Oracle databases. So we want to have a place where we can see all those metrics for all the different EBS stack resources. And it would be nice to see, anomalies in any of these metrics that are coming in. So, if there's spikes in CPU or memory utilization, it would be nice to see that. And, receiving alerts on certain thresholds, as well as being able to bring in your own metrics. So if you have, a way to get, for example, long-running concurrent requests from the database, then it would be nice to also bring that into the picture as well. So for those kind of use cases, the OCI service that works well for it is OCI stack monitoring. And, it gives you full monitoring into all the EBS stack components, as well as the topology view, being able to see everything in a single view. And it learns the baselines of the metrics of the it learns the baselines of the metrics for all the EBS stack components, and can detect anomalies as they arise as well. So it uses machine learning to do that, and that can be really helpful to alert you when certain things are experiencing thresholds that are not normal.
Z,
And
I think there's a key differentiation here that, folks new to OCI may not be familiar with. And again, this goes from how they're managing in their on-premise environments today. Because of the observability and control plane integration in OCI, stack monitoring is taking advantage of that and being able to discover those components, like you said, and then instantiate and automate, monitoring startup for all those essential components. Now, of course, an EBS customer can move on to, for instance, OCI IaaS or PaaS, and they can manually then, use another tool or service, but it doesn't provide all the advantages or insight or ease that stack monitoring has. So again, there are choices customers can make when they move on to OCI, but for the overall EBS stack as you're discussing, stack monitoring makes that so much easier.
yeah, and discovery is just a couple of clicks and providing some key details for your environment, and uh, it has the ability to discover all of the EBS stack components, collect those metrics, automate, the baselines that it's learning, and detect anomalies. So it's quite powerful and easy to set up for EBS. And just another note on capabilities for OCI stack monitoring. They provide out-of-box monitoring templates. So, depending on the type of resource, if it's WebLogic, if it's a database or host, you're able to apply a template of, thresholds and alarms and metrics for that resource type by one click. And of course, you can go in and edit those thresholds if you'd like, but it just makes it really easy to get started and to set up notifications and alerts for your resources. All right, so what about monitoring EBS from an application performance perspective? Some of the use cases involved with that is troubleshooting EBS application issues as well as forms errors, the ability to understand the latency and response times of all the different services, being able to see what the end user experience looks like, viewing user sessions and the issues that those users have encountered, um, proactively monitoring EBS service availability, and being able to, gain more context from application errors by, you know, looking into SQL performance or looking into logs in context to, help you make more informed decisions and troubleshoot issues faster. So the service that allows you to do all of this is OCI Application Performance Monitoring. It provides tracing for the EBS applications tier, and it allows you to track every step of every transaction that's happening. It also provides real user monitoring, which allows you to measure end user performance in the browser. You can also set up, end user monitoring for forms as well and get those metrics. Um, it also provides synthetic monitoring capabilities. So being able to create proactive, monitors that simulate either user activity or calls to different services, and you can, set those tests up to run proactively uh, uh, and show you any errors or latency ahead of time before it starts impacting users. And one of the powerful capabilities within APM is the ability to set up drill downs like we were showing in the beginning of the session. So being able to drill down in context to logs and SQL performance. All right, so uh, what about EBS logs? I'm sure, people who have used EBS know that there's uh, probably millions of log records that are being, collected. And uh, one of the things that would simplify, resolving issues and understanding what's going on is the ability to identify, clusters of logs, outliers that are showing up, correlations between, different log sources. And it would be nice to be able to see that from your WebLogic logs as well as concurrent processing logs. And uh, once you have the views that you prefer for visualizing and understanding the log data, it would be nice to save those views and either create alarms on them if, for example, you're getting uh, null pointer exception errors. You'd want to get notifications for that. So it would be nice to be able to set that up, as well as creating custom dashboards where you can visualize your log data in many different ways. And if you're an OIC user, Oracle Integration Cloud, then being able to monitor your integrations as well, and seeing how they're performing via the OIC logs um, that are being streamed in OCI. And with OCI logging analytics, you get the ability to visualize logs in a lot of different ways with the Log Explorer, some machine learning capabilities that allow you to cluster log data, uh, find outliers or problem sources, as well as perform correlation analysis for your log data. So those are very powerful tools that can really help out with uh, mean time to resolution for issues that come up. And the cool thing about the OCI logging analytics platform is that it has a rich collection of parsers for different log types. So for things like EBS logs and WebLogic server logs, it can automatically pull in those log entries and categorize them, figure out errors, label things. So there's no work that you would need to do on your end. It's all pretty much automatic once it pulls those log files in. And you, once you visualize logs and see them in a way that makes sense to you, you can, create saved searches for that log data. You can also create alarms on it if, there's certain things that you want to be notified about as they show up in logs. And you're also able to pull those views into your own custom dashboards that you can, have a single pane of glass for viewing everything. And one of the cool things too that OCI Logging Analytics provides is an OCI Marketplace app that you can deploy, which provides you with over 300 scheduled SQL checks to verify the health of different business flows in EBS, along with their own out-of-box dashboards as well. So that includes, things like AR, HR, all those different EBS business sections. You'll be able to run these scheduled checks to make sure that everything is working smoothly from a business perspective. Okay. And regarding, managing EBS databases, some of, the things that you may be looking for is the ability to administer databases quickly from anywhere without needing to install, different tools on on-premise servers. So that can be something that can, really help with managing databases, and the ability to view database and infrastructure together in context for databases that are on-premise, hybrid, or multi-cloud. So being able to see all of that in one place would be a very valuable capability. Getting in-depth diagnostics into PL and SQL metrics for something like concurrent requests can really help with diagnostics and troubleshooting. And being able to see long-running SQL statements that you've identified in other services like APM, where you're looking at application transactions and drilling down into SQL performance from there. And then lastly, being able to view and terminate any blocking sessions as they arise from the platform. So those are some of the use cases for managing EBS databases. And the tool that helps you do all of that is OCI Database Management, which gives you a fleet-wide view of all your databases that are on-premise and in cloud. It provides a lot of capabilities for database administration, such as configuration, users, and backup management. And it provides the Performance Hub, which is where you can go into the diagnostics of, SQL analytics and session details and blocking sessions. And for capacity planning and cost analysis for EBS, some of the use cases you may be looking for is, forecasting the utilization of your databases and mid-tier hosts and being able to optimize that utilization and planning for future capital expenditure by business or resource type. It would be also cool to get, updates on how your capacity utilization is changing on a weekly basis. So getting those weekly resource updates, and for more advanced use cases, being able to automate your resource scaling. So based on uh, what you're seeing with trends in database utilization or host utilization, being able to automate the provisioning of resources for your EBS environment. And and lastly, also being able to look at, historical SQL performance and trends over time so that you can, kind of forecast from that perspective how much it's going to impact, your future utilization. And the tool for doing that is OCI Ops Insights, which provides you with capacity planning through machine learning. It can learn the historical trends of utilization, even if they're seasonal, and gives you forecasting capabilities of what your utilization looks like in the future. And that improves the cost that's associated with the resources by identifying underutilized or over-provisioned databases and servers. And if you're using Exadata, there's a lot of additional, forecasting and trends and insights that you get from Exadata Insights. For your SQL queries, you get a lot of insights into historical performance and degradation over time. So you can, view a lot of that from a historical perspective. And lastly, it provides weekly news reports, which allows you to, get uh, an email or notification every week on what your resource utilization trends are looking like, so that you can, keep track of that. So, just as a note, now that we've covered, all these different OCI observability and management services, uh, I wanted to show you what EBS monitoring looks like on OCI from a metrics perspective. So each of the services in OCI emits their own metrics. So APM emits their own metrics for, the trace data and latency and end user monitoring metrics. Logging analytics can also emit metrics based on your saved searches. Stack monitoring provides metrics for all the discovered EBS stack components. You can also uh, pull in custom metrics from metric extensions that you've set up. Database management uh, provides their, database metrics, and operation ops insights provides, the forecasting metrics, which all of these feed into the monitoring service in OCI. And in addition to, what's coming in from the observability and management services, you're also getting all the metrics that are coming in from the OCI control plane. And if you have any metric providers that are set up, such as Prometheus, you can also push metrics to the monitoring service that way. And that, opens the ability to create alarms on all these metrics that are coming in, or pull those metrics as, dashboard widgets into your own custom dashboards. So just wanted to show you what that looks like here. And now I'll kind of show you a demo of, a EBS dashboard that I created, which um, has a lot of different uh, telemetry sources from metrics, uh, traces, and log data that's coming in. So in here, uh, if you notice, there's different tabs for all the different views that I've created here. And the first one is a stack overview, and that kind of shows you, what's up, what's down, uh, what's not reporting. So you can kind of get a visualization of that up front. And it also shows host CPU, memory, and file system utilization, as well as, any alarms that are triggering um, that you've set up, and uh, the monitored systems that are being tracked from a log perspective as well. So you can kind of see that and see the trends of the logs that are coming in for those resources. So the next view that I have here is the topology view, which can be, important for, seeing the flow of data in your application. So there's two kind of views here. There's one for, all the discovered resources and the topology view of that here, which can help you, visualize what the whole environment looks like. And then there's the topology view from an application performance perspective. So, from the calls that are being made from the clients to, all the services, the OA cores to the database calls that are being made. So you can kind of visualize that here. You can also see that the arrows kind of vary in their width, and that shows you, where things are taking longer to execute and where there's more latency. So, you can hover over it and kind of see what that looks like in terms of, average duration that it's taking to complete those calls. So that's for the topology view. From a concurrent request perspective, there's this visualization here of just that. It provides, upfront a concurrent request analysis widget, which, takes in log data and creates this, analysis view of, the jobs that are running and the time taken and, what program it is. So you can, look at that from this perspective here with a summary at the top. You can also see, the breakdown of concurrent requests by the different jobs that are running or, by what has issues and what's been, submitted successfully. So you can see that breakdown here. And for concurrent request rates, you can see, what's errored, what's successful, what's giving you some warnings, and you can see the trends of the concurrent requests here as well. My environment's a little bit automated, so these trends are going to be cyclical, but for um, other environments, you can see what those trends are like over time for the logs that are coming in for those concurrent requests. And for uh, this widget here, it's based off of a metric extension that I've set up. So I'm pulling in long-running concurrent requests that are coming in from the database, and I'm able to visualize that custom metric here, and I can go in and edit the rows here so that you can link to different services. So, either looking at request ID and linking into the logs that are relevant to that, or, linking to something like database management via the user that's running those concurrent requests. And finally, there's, just a summary table that shows, all those different concurrent requests and the time taken. And, it's an interesting view here. There's these out-of-box timelines that you can look at, and you can create your own as well. And I think the limit for this, is it a year or 2 years for how long, that,
The metrics are kept for 90 days, right? So that's basically what you're going to see with custom metrics. But
right?
for logs, it depends on how long you're going to keep the logs. So if you're keeping it for 6 months, you can see 6 months of data. If you keep it for 1 month, you see 1 month of data.
Yeah, I'm just gonna show one thing really quick here, and then we'll open up for Q&A. So just the last tab here for performance and availability. You're getting a lot of metrics for user experience, any automated tests that you're running against the application with the availability, any outliers or trends in the log data, any problem labels that it's seeing. So, something like a null pointer, exception, you can click into this and it'll take you to the logs that are showing that specific, null pointer exception, which can be really powerful here. So just wanted to show that. And then lastly here, just a few, tables that show the errors that are happening by the grouped by the operation, the SQL performance, by average time taken for all those calls, any of the user sessions that you want to drill down into, and any long running spans in general. So that's kind of the gist of it here for performance and availability. So with the interest of time, I'll just yeah. So there's a few here. There's the GitHub repository, which has the dashboard that I was just showing, and it provides you with configurations for drill downs from traces to SQL and log data, and the metric extension for long-running concurrent requests as well. So that's one thing. The other is the OCI Marketplace app, where you can um, deploy an application to create those business side functional checks for EBS. And lastly, I have a solution guide which kind of walks you through all the um, everything that we've discussed today, along with steps to implement this solution as well. So check it out.
Here's a question. Z, is it possible to create EBS admin dashboard from the marketplace like the way we have sensors for functional?
So the sensors is an app that's deployed through Marketplace. OCI management dashboards has an import functionality. So all you would need to do is just download from the GitHub the dashboard resource, and you can just import it with one click into OCI.
Ziad, I'd like to thank you for your content. It was very comprehensive. Baz and Steve, thank you so much as panelists addressing all the questions. Okay, with no more questions, I can conclude this call. Thank you everyone for joining and have a great rest of your day.